Welcome to Football Discussion Daily. My name is Joe, here with the co-host
CGO.
CGO, or George. We're releasing this video on May the 1st, 2026. And quick reminder, please like us, subscribe us. We release long-form YouTube every day, short-form Instagram, TikTok, and other platforms. Today was the semifinals for the Europa League and the Conference League. In the Europa League, Nottingham Forest hosted and beat Aston Villa 1-0 on a penalty kick by Chris Wood. Braga hosted and beat Freiburg. They scored a 92nd minute goal. And in the conference, that was 2-1. In the Conference League, Rayo Valencia beat Strasbourg 1-0, and Crystal Palace beat Shakhtar Donetsk 3-1. George, there's a lot of interesting moments today. We're also going to talk about today the Premier League Goal of the Month. Premier League announced the 8 nominees. I believe in the next week they'll announce the winner, and we'll talk through each of those and what George and I's picks are for that. But first, let's talk Europa League. Nottingham Forest beat Aston Villa 1-0. The one goal was a penalty where Luca Dean had his hands up high. The ball was going out of bounds, and the Nottingham Forest player kicked it right back into Luca Dean's hands. It looked initially like it might have been out of bounds. It was not. It was a penalty. It was scored. Luca Dean, mistake, could be the difference in this game, in this tie, George. It's a big deal. Other than that, I thought it was, it could have gone here or there. It wasn't, crazy good or bad performance by either team. Just one mistake, the difference between 1-0, George. What is your takeaway from this game?
If you watch the game, it was a balanced game between both sides. It would have gone either way because both sides, I think Nottingham Forest had about 5 shots on target, while Aston Villa had 4 shots on target. The game was even. It was balanced. Any of those teams would have won. But, that mistake from Luca Dean, it was more like a gift to Nottingham Forest. If not for that penalty, I think the game would have ended in a draw. That's what would have happened. But I don't know. I don't understand the rationale behind him raising his hands up, and then I was even trying to protest. Probably was thinking the ball has already gone out of play. But by the time VAR reviewed it, some parts of the ball were still within the line, and that was how that penalty was given to Chris Wood. And you can see the way Chris Wood took the penalty. It was a very powerful shot he took that Martinez, even though Martinez went towards that direction, but the force of the ball was too fast that he couldn't stop the goal. So
you can't blame Martinez for not stopping it. Martinez did make some excellent saves. I've always thought that he was the somewhat overrated goalkeeper. I thought that he's a decent goalkeeper who gets rated among the world's best. He is not a Neuer. He is not a Courtois. He is not an Alisson. Decent keeper. He won a World Cup. Good for him. I like his mentality. I think, but he had a good game today. He made several saves I thought were fantastic that I saw. And unfortunately, those were the highlights of this match. And the penalty was, I felt, quite boring.
Joe, I don't agree with you when you say it's overrated, because if you look at the World Cup in 2022, his saves really helped Argentina to win that trophy. He made a lot of incredible saves in that competition. Even the Copa America, he was very instrumental in helping the team to win the trophy. So I see Martinez as a very good goalkeeper. Even when he was in Arsenal, he was good. And he has been improving with time. Even in this game, there was a save he made that Igo Yesu, everybody thought the ball was already going to the net. But I was surprised he could save that kind of ball. So it was an excellent save he made. And he made a lot of good save in this game. So
like I said, today he had a good game. He had a couple of good games in the World Cup, and he won. Good for him. I think over the course of the last 5 or 6 years, he is clearly a tier below your Neuer, your Alissons, your Courtois when you're talking about the best keeper in the world. I don't believe he belongs in that conversation at all. I believe he's clearly a tier below. But that is my opinion, and I will defend it. And I do not want to make this a conversation about Emi Martinez, George.
So so don't you think he's among the top 10 goalkeepers in the world? Top 10.
Maybe. I'll say this, that I do feel like the last 5 to 10 years, you have 3 keepers, I'll say, who are above everybody. That's Neuer, Alisson, and Courtois. Terstegen possibly, and Donnarumma possibly. But I don't believe. I do not believe Emi belongs in that conversation. I believe that those are the tier one keepers who have been in the conversation for best in the world the last 5 years.
Those guys you mentioned, they are very exceptional goalkeepers. But I think for top 10, I will put Martinez in the top 10. The likes
Yes,
of Raya will be in that list if I'm to give my own opinion. So
you're
Martinez
probably
is
right.
one of those top goalkeepers we have. But like you mentioned, these guys you've made mention of, the likes of Couture, those are very exceptional goalkeepers. They
Yeah,
are
yeah,
not, they are above him when it comes to rating. That's what
yeah,
I would
yeah.
say.
It's just interesting. Yeah. Honest and George, the rest of these games, I watched. I mean, I watched the highlights of the rest of these games. The Braga versus Freiburg game. There was a goal towards the end. This was in Portugal. I think Freiburg probably would have been really happy going back to Germany with a draw. But Braga managed to score a good goal, 92nd minute, where they had the ball on the byline and they crossed it to the top of the box, and they had the goalie made a great save, and the Braga player jumped on it and scored. That was a great goal. But there were some really good goals in this game. Outside of that, I believe one was on a corner kick. Just a really good game all around. I mean, I really enjoyed watching the highlights. This is not a team I get to watch. Do you think that Freiburg is? I think Freiburg is favored still in this tie. I always thought they were a better team, and winning at home, I don't know for Braga. I don't know if it changes that for me. I think Freiburg is going to go through. What about you?
The game is still open. I think any of the two sides can go through because I wouldn't like to write off Braga. Braga has been very decent in this competition, so it's not a team I would just write off. Freiburg has also been very good. If I'm to make a prediction, I think since I'll be playing the return leg at home, I think that advantage will be there and there's that high chance that they will go through. They have good players who can help them, and then their goalkeeper has been very, very good in this competition. The guy called Noah Atubolo. His father is a Nigerian, and then the mother is a German. So what it means is that he can represent either Nigeria or the German national team. That guy has been very good. He made a record in the Bundesliga, saving 5 consecutive penalties. That is something that is very amazing. And he has saved 11 penalties in his career. That is a very good one for the young guy. He has been doing very well. And even in this game, we saw how he saved the penalty by the guy called, I think, Zalazar or something. I can't remember the guy's name. I think his name is Zalazar. Yeah. That was the person who took the penalty and he was able to save it. And he saves it with every confidence, as if he is very sure that he's going to save it. So the guy has been very, very impressive. I think in the last seven penalties, he has saved 6. So that tells you that he's developing more confidence and he's becoming like a specialist when it comes to saving penalties. So
That's crazy.
I'm very
I think
happy.
he's. I mean, I think he's probably worth a World Cup spot just for that. You know, we've seen in the past, Tim Krul came in for Netherlands in the World Cup for penalties.
Yes.
Louis Van Gaal was coached. We saw, in theory at least, Sarri tried to pull in who was it for Kepa in the League Cup final a couple years ago for penalties. Tactically, that was his plan. Obviously, it didn't work out that way. Kepa refused to go off. But we've seen coaches do this in the past where they bring in penalty specialists. Obviously, he's not going to go for Nigeria this World Cup, but that's also a possibility for Germany. But he's how old is he? Young enough that he'll have several more World Cup opportunities. Is that right,
Yeah,
George?
yes. The guy is a young player. I can't remember his age now, but I know he's a very young player
Yeah.
who I think should be given a chance because he has really been doing very well so far. Uh, so far keeping is consigned. He been very. I think he's 23 years old or so.
Oh wow, that's very young for a
Yeah, so
goalkeeper,
it's a young
especially.
goalkeeper and he has a very bright future the way it's going. He has been very decent when it comes to being in goal. And then when it comes to penalty, he has really made a very big statement. So,
Yeah.
like you said, this is something some coaches should consider. Even if he's not the number one in a competition where the game can get into penalty shooter, a keeper like that can be brought in to save the day.
I certainly think Germany's number one will be up for grabs after this tournament. I said this to you on Tuesday, but Manuel Neuer is 40, and in my opinion, there's opportunities that he has that he to make saves that he would have made 5 years ago that he has not made this season. He's still a good, very good goalkeeper, but I can't imagine him playing another World Cup. And so that opportunity for Germany might open up for him. Obviously, you want him to play for Nigeria,
Of
but
course.
we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. I don't think either of us are aware of his personal intention, whether he identifies more with Nigeria or Germany, and which one he has more pride with. It's great that he might be in a position to do that.
Yeah.
Let's move on, George, to
It's,
the Europa Conference League
yeah.
matchups. Here we had Real Valencia win 1-0. This was a corner kick goal where it was a routine where they hit it to the near post and headed it in, and they had two players running in, very open defensively on that set piece and a goal. I didn't see if Strasbourg had any chances or anything like that, but I think that the 1-0 loss without away goals is pretty comfortable going back home. If I'm a home team and I only have to overcome one goal, I'd probably be pretty happy. Without being familiar with either of these teams, I imagine Strasbourg is going back home hopeful. Is that right, George? Are you familiar with any of these Chelsea players on loan to Strasbourg?
The likes of Baku plays for that team. The likes of Chilwell. You know Ben Chilwell.
Of
Ben
course.
Chilwell is a former Chelsea player who joined Strasbourg. So they have players like the likes of Julio and Siso. But today I'm not sure they even got a shot on target. The Strasbourg were not. They didn't really impress me today the way they played. Maybe when they get back to France to play the return leg, probably they might turn the table around because in a game that Royal Volcano had 8 shots on target and Strasbourg had none. That's a terrible performance, if you ask me. Though they almost got something like a penalty towards the ending of the game, and the VAR overruled it. But Strasbourg were not impressive today. And the reason why I feel maybe they still stand a chance is because Rayo Vallecano in this competition, they've always done well at home. But whenever they play away, they don't have a very good record away. So I'm thinking that might give Strasbourg some kind of chance to turn the table around when they play in France next week.
It'll be interesting to see. I did see that. I knew Omega on Strasbourg as well is not a Chelsea loanee, but is signed for Chelsea, I believe, this summer. And so it should be interesting to bring in. They'll probably bring him in for competition for Delap and Wial Pedro for that for striking. So, George, in the other game we have Crystal Palace won 3-1. This was interesting again because Shakhtar scored on another set piece goal. Crystal Palace had a couple nice goals. Their last goal was a nice counter-attack goal where Jurgen Sven Larsen had a great finish.
Yes.
They scored in the first minute. Ismail Sarr, he scored some fantastic goals in the past, but he's struggled with consistency. But when he's on. He's fully capable of finishing. I think Crystal Palace has this complete lockdown, and Oliver Glasner, he wants to go out with a bang. It's impressive that he has these guys playing hard, even though he only has a couple more games left. George, sorry, I'll keep on interrupting. What is your takeaway from here?
Ismail Assar made a record today because that goal he scored he scored it within 21 seconds, and that's a record in this competition, the fastest goal in the Conference League. So it was a good one from Ismail Assar, and then the likes of Kamada and then Jorgensen, Strad, Larsen were able to also get a goal for Crystal Palace. The funny thing is that Shakhtar Donetsk, they dominated the game. I think the ball possession was almost 70-30, if I'm not wrong here. They really possessed the game. They dominated. They created a lot of chances, but the problem is that they were very poor when it comes to the final third. So, but Crystal Palace, even though they didn't dominate the game, the few opportunities they had, they were able to take advantage of it. Imagine dominating a game.
I don't think possession matters that much. Like like you can possess all day. I remember these teams like Burnley, like the Vincent Company Burnley team, or like the Brendan Rodgers, was it Cardiff or Swansea teams, like or Roberto Martinez, like when he was managing Wigan. These teams could possess all day without quality. It doesn't matter. Like there's such a thing called toothless possession. I didn't watch this game. I mean, obviously, I've been watching. I watched as much as I could as some of the other games, but I don't take too much stock into possession stats. Mourinho too, when he won the league with Real Madrid, he famously against Barcelona would just you know prioritize possession, and it didn't really matter. I feel like the game it's changed since then, but it's mostly about controlling spaces, some of which you can do with the ball, but you don't need it.
Imagine dominating a game, having 70 to 71% possession. Crystal Palace is having about 29%, and then you only have one shot on target. Crystal Palace is having 7 shots on target. So at the end of the day, it's not about having possession. What do you make of the possession?
Yeah.
How effective is your ball possession? So you can be having ball possession, but if you are not creating the space, creating the chances, and then taking shots at goal, then your ball possession is of no use. And that was what happened today to Shakhtar Donetsk. With this, I think it will be difficult for them to turn the table around when they get to the
Impossible.
sales pack. Yeah.
George, last thing, let's talk about Premier League goal of the month. We have Ryan Cherky against Arsenal. We have Eze against Newcastle, Ngoma against Fulham, Andy Robertson against Crystal Palace, Matoma against Spurs, Xavi Simons against Brighton, Matthias Jensen against Man United, James Justin against Leeds. There are some really quality goals here. I think James Justin was an overhead kick. Matoma was a left-footed volley. Cherky was dancing like he was like a ballet dancer in the box. Xavi Simons had some great curl on here. So did Riano Rigoma. Just all over the place, counterattacking with Andy Robertson, and the curl on Eze shot. All these goals are fantastic and worthy winners.
Beautiful goals. Beautiful
For me,
goals.
I think it's Matoma or Cherky. I personally would probably give it to Cherky just because of the stakes. It's a title winning match. It could go down as a title winning match. It definitely was 1 versus 2 when the Matoma goal might be relevant if Spurs go down. But I feel like the individual quality of both goals was fantastic. But I personally like the Cherky goal.
The reason why I'm going to give it to Ryan Cherky is if you look at the other goals, a player had to make the opportunity for these guys to score their own goals. But Ryan Cherky had to create the opportunity for himself. He had to beat 2-3 Arsenal defenders for him to score that goal. That requires brilliance. It requires smartness for a player to be able to do that.
Cherky was intentional about it too. Like he didn't even look up and make his bearings. Like where's the keeper? Where are the defenders? Where's the net? Like he knew. Like it was just instinctual. Like he needed to focus on the ball. Like he knew where the space was. Like it was just so purely instinctual while being so skillful. It was just wonderful. With Matoma's goal, you see like 5 or 6 attempted volleys per game, and of course, like once a month, like in the Premier League, if you have 100 guys trying left-footed volleys from that angle, one of them is going to hit a goal. And credit to Matoma, I couldn't do that. But like you see guys try stuff like that pretty regularly. Sandro Tonali tries that, at least once a game, and he scored 1 or 2 goals a season like that. And it's a great finish, but it's just more. I don't know. For me, Cherky is just fantastic.
That Cherky's goal is the kind of goal you see from the likes of Lionel Messi. Yeah. You don't find that kind of goal is not too common to find. So when you see that kind of goal being scored by a player, you just have to enjoy it, and then you just have to be happy that we're able to see this kind of goal in the Premier League.
George, question for you. For the month of April, what is the Chelsea goal of the month?
Well, Chelsea goal of the month, definitely. Remember,
it's a trick question. Chelsea didn't score a Premier League goal in April.
No. But remember,
George, I was asking Premier League goal. I was asking Premier League goal.
Joe, they don't use only Premier League goals.
They do use only Premier League goals for this competition. These are all Premier League goals.
No, I'm talking about Chelsea's Premier League. I'm talking about Chelsea's goal of the month. It's not only centered on Premier League goals.
I was
Chelsea
making a
scored
joke.
in
They scored
Chelsea scored in the
one
FA Cup.
goal. Yes. What is Chelsea's Premier League goal of the month? Trick question. They didn't score one. George, let's close out with our questions of the day. Number one, what is your favorite goal of the Europa or Conference League match day? I'll say the Jurgen Strand-Larsen breakaway goal was fantastic for me, but there are some fantastic goals all around. I really like all the set piece goals. Number two, there's actually an incident George and I didn't talk about in where Elliot Anderson slid into Ollie Watkins. There was no penalty given. I will say, let us know your thoughts on that. Like, I think it maybe should have been a foul. I think people calling for a red, or I don't think that's a red for me. Number three, who's your favorite for Europa League now? I'd still say Aston Villa for Europa League. I'd still say Crystal Palace for the Conference League. Number five, last question. What is your Premier League goal of the month? George and I both say the Ryan Cherky goal against Arsenal. Let us know your thoughts. Thank you for listening.